All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone, and thank you for attending the Motivate Virtual Job Fair event. I would like to introduce you to Abby. She's going to tell you a little bit about their company, the job openings they have, and how you can apply for those job openings. So I will pass it off to you, Abby.
Great, thank you so much. Hi, everyone. My name is Abby Clifford, and I work with Motivate. And so what we want to do today is just give a nice overview of what we're hiring for, a little bit more about our company, and then obviously answer any questions or anything that you might have. Great. So can everyone see my screen?
Yep.
Cool. So a little bit about our company. So what is Motivate? So Motivate is a bike share operations company. And we operate not just in Chicago, but we actually operate all across the US, as you can see by this map. And we operate in some of the largest markets and largest cities in the US. We operate about 75% of the total US bike share fleet. And so with that, we're also operating some of the biggest brands, and in all of these cities, we are partnering with Lyft to provide this bike sharing service. And I'll get into a little bit more about bike share and kind of like our operations here in a minute. So what is our mission? As a company, our mission is just to provide best-in-class operations that will transform the sustainability, livability, and health of our cities. So what we're looking to do with our bike share systems and our operations is that we're trying to make the cities that you live, work, and play in just better places to be, and more sustainable and more green. Beyond that, our vision, we think that our success will come from best-in-class service and innovation in operations and logistics. So what we try and do every single day is provide the best service that we can to our customers, and also continue to innovate and change and grow in our operations so that we are the most effective and efficient as we can be. In all of our operations and our employees, what we value is excellence, safety, integrity, collaboration, and just the community where we live, work, and play. So obviously we want our operations to be the best they can be, and with that, we want our people to be the best they can be. We put a huge focus on safety, not only in our warehouses, but also keeping our employees safe as they're working in the field or in the city, and especially in times like this, where there is a global pandemic. We want to make sure that our business is dependable and trustworthy, and that also all of our employees believe that as well, and are dependable and trustworthy and reliable. And then we also work together not only internally, but we work together with Lyft and the city and our customers to make sure that we're, again, providing this great service. And then within our communities, we not only provide this transportation service, but we also partner with local organizations and community groups to provide employment to people in the communities that we serve. So now that you know kind of like what we believe in, where we are, and a little bit about what we do, let's take a look inside our operations to understand what we're really doing from a day-to-day perspective, and what you might be doing if you start to work for our company. So our operations team consists of about 1,000 people across these 8 cities. And our bikes are actually available 24/7. So we work up to 7 days a week, maintaining the system, moving the bikes around, fixing the bikes, different things like that. And then I'm just going to kind of walk through the different types of departments and the way that we service and operate our system. So one of our departments is called service delivery. And what they're doing is they're making sure that these bike share systems are rideable and that our customers can use the bikes when they want them, and they're where they need them when they want them. So the way that we do this is we have motorized and non-motorized solutions. So basically we have drivers and non-driving employees who are either moving bikes from place to place. In high traffic areas, they might have a giant corral of bikes to kind of mitigate high demand, like at like train stations, things like that. And then we also have employees who sit within our warehouse who are sending our teams out on routes. So basically telling them the most efficient way to move around the city, and then how many bikes to pick up or how many bikes to drop off, to make sure that our system is balanced and that, again, our customers can get bikes when they want them and where they want them. So beyond moving the bikes around the system and making sure that it's usable by our customers, we also have to make sure that our bikes are working. So that's where our bike fleet team comes in. And they're responsible for the assembly, repair, and maintenance of all of the bikes within the system. So depending on the role, the mechanics will either work in the shop or in the field. So they might be repairing bikes within one of our warehouses, or they might be actually riding around one of our bikes throughout the city, fixing bikes as they go from station to station. Our aim with this department is just to make sure that we have as many rideable and safe bikes in our system as possible. So basically just keeping the number of bikes in our depot as low as possible so that there's a wealth of available bikes. And then beyond that, we have two other groups within our operations. We have our station technicians and our assembly and deployment team. So our station technicians are actually working on the actual stations that you see around. So down here is a good photo of kind of what they look like. And all of these stations are solar powered and battery powered. And if they're not functioning, customers aren't able to take bikes out or utilize the system. So what this team is doing preventative and reactive maintenance to all of the stations throughout the system to make sure that they're working and that, again, customers can utilize the bikes. If you haven't been able to tell, one common theme I think we have throughout all of our operations and our departments is that we're really focused on the customer, and we're focused on being able to provide a great service and being able to allow all of our customers access to bikes wherever they are. And then this last team, assembly and deployment, they are responsible for adding new stations to the system. So if you've ever been kind of walking down the street and you're like, what is this? Like, this wasn't here a week ago. That's our assembly and deployment team. So they are actually laying down new stations within the system as we expand and grow, or if we have to move a station based on city regulations or something of that nature. So with that little overview of kind of the full operations, what are we hiring for in Chicago? So first, we're looking for bike mechanics. And what we look for in bike mechanics is first, reliability and dependability. And that's something that carries through for all of our employees. But then also someone who is really interested in learning a new skill and growing in your career. We do not require that anyone come in with years of bike mechanic experience or even bike mechanic experience in general. We have a full training program that we will train up our new employees on the different types of repairs and just being a bike mechanic for our company. The only thing that we do require is that you have familiarity with tools. You obviously want to learn and grow. You're comfortable working outside and working in that warehouse type of environment, and that you are comfortable using a smartphone. And then we do have 2 driving jobs available as well. So the first driving job we call a driver rebalancer, and that's someone who is actually moving bikes around the system. And the second driving role is a battery swapper, and they are swapping batteries on the electric bikes that we will have in the system. So for both roles, you're operating one of our company vehicles. You don't have to have your own. You have to be comfortable working with a smartphone and a tablet. That's how you get sent out on different routes. You have to understand the Chicago geography and kind of street layout so you know where to go and how to just get around generally. And then be able to communicate both with your coworkers and your managers, because you'll be in the field, you won't be in the warehouse. So you have to be able to communicate on your phone or your tablet back to your manager or our dispatchers that are on site, letting them know of any issues you run into or any problems that you might be having. And obviously the last qualification for this is you do have to have a valid driver's license. And we do run your motor vehicle record, so that has to be clean as well. But no CDL or special type of license is required for either role. So those are the three main roles that we'll be hiring for. So now that you've kind of heard about the company, you know about the different roles, you're super interested. So how do you apply? The first step is to actually go onto our site and apply to the role of interest directly. Our recruiting team will then reach out to you directly to set up an initial phone screen and kind of just talk to you more about the role, understand a little bit more about your background, and then walk you through any next steps. Next steps after the initial phone call, if you're still interested and your qualifications align, we'll have you come on site to an intended interview with our team. After that on-site interview, we follow up within 2 business days with whether we're moving forward and moving to hire or that we won't be hiring at that time. So it's a really simple process. Our turnaround time is anywhere from 1 to 2 weeks from the time that you apply to the time that we make the final hiring decision. So we can be relatively quickly. We are hiring up pretty extensively over the next couple months. I would say that our biggest hiring is really going to pick up in the middle of August. So if you're applying now, it might be a little slower to get through the process, but in August, we'll be really adding at least 10 drivers to our team each week and about 10 mechanics each week. So there's a lot of opportunity, a lot of areas where you can learn and grow a new skill, and just a great opportunity to join a team, do something different, work outside, work with your hands, and really make an impact on a transportation system that impacts all of the Chicago area. So that's just a little bit about the company and the roles. So I'm gonna pause there. Does anyone have any questions, or does anyone want to learn anything more about the company, the positions we're hiring for, anything like that?
If you do have any questions, you can go ahead and type them into the chat, and then we can go ahead and get those answered for you. One question that we had was, what are the normal hours worked in a week?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we have full-time and part-time opportunities. So what we're hiring for is a seasonal employment, but each week you have the opportunity to do full-time hours or part-time hours. So anywhere from 16 to 37.5, depending on your availability.
Okay, and then what you mentioned that you needed a driver's license and you checked that, but what other background checks are performed?
So we do a motor vehicle check for drivers, and we do check references, but we do not do a formal background check.
Okay. And then we had another question that was, what challenges or opportunities have emerged from COVID?
Yeah, I think one of the challenges for us, I mean, we have quite a few, but one, just making sure that everything's disinfected, not only within our warehouses, but also our bikes. So making sure that we're bringing our bikes back in, so we're keeping our community safe as well in regularly disinfecting those. Second, the way that we used to do our driver training was we would have 2 drivers go in a van. So we've had to set up basically barriers in all of our vans to be able to do trainings. And then 3, in terms of doing hiring, so we do have to do on-site interviews for our roles, just with the technical component that's involved. So being able to set up spaces that are safe and clean for our candidates and for our employees. So being able to comfortably limit who's coming into the office while at the same time keeping our operations moving forward.
And then you had mentioned that you have to be comfortable using a smartphone. Do you have to have a smartphone, or do you have to just be comfortable using the technology?
Nope, you just have to be comfortable using the technology. So like with vans, we provide work phones. We provide work phones and PPE and uniforms to all of our employees. We don't require that you utilize your own.
And then is a driver's license required for the bike mechanic position?
No, it is not. Yeah, that's a non-driving role.
Okay. And then are you paid for the time that you're being trained?
Yes. Yeah, all of our training is paid. Basically, once we give you an offer, if you come on site to work, in terms of like even going through our onboarding process, like on the first day, you'll go through some like HR videos and that kind of stuff, and you're paid for all of that time.
Great. And then could you go over some of the benefits that are offered?
Yeah. So one, a training program. So we do like a full training program for both drivers and bike mechanics. Drivers is obviously just like a little more or a little shorter, but we'll teach you all of like driving best practices, moving bikes around, best practices there. And we do like safety training as well. And then for bike mechanics, we have a full program there. So you'll learn pretty much all of the repairs on a bike, and you'll learn all of the different components and how to use the tools that we have as well. Beyond training, there's also a lot of growth opportunities. So we do all of our, or the majority of our leads and even up to shift managers are all internal promotions. So there's a lot of upward mobility within the company. Everyone gets a bike share membership. And if you are hired into a part-time or full-time role, there are some like medical benefits and 401k benefits involved with that.
Great. There weren't any other questions in the chat. So if you do have any last minute questions, go ahead and type those there. That's all we had for today. Did you have anything else you wanted to add, Abby?
No, I just think that this is a really great opportunity, especially if you're someone who likes to work outside and likes to work with your hands and wants to try something new. We have a really great team, and like I said before too, we're going to be hiring up pretty extensively. So if maybe this isn't something that interests you, but you have a friend who this might be interested in, please pass this along. We'll interview and speak to any candidate that comes through. So definitely, if this isn't something for you, please pass the message along to people that you know or people in your community.
All right. Well, I do want to thank you for this presentation, Abby, and I want to thank everyone for attending this virtual job fair. You can find their employer booth on Illinois WorkNet's virtual job fair page. And I'm actually going to put the link to the booth in the chat for everyone. So you can find the link to their employer booth in the chat for Illinois WorkNet. And a recording of this video will be posted there later today. So you can find any information you may have missed, you can find it there. So thank you everyone again for coming, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thanks everyone.